Hello, everybody, and welcome. A little bit of a different thing here today. So I recorded a bunch of videos on my last day off, and it's been a while since I've uploaded one. The ones I recorded, they OBS decided not to record my audio for some reason, but that should be good here. So yeah, let's do one of these tier lists because tier lists are a thing right now. We're gonna go ahead and change that to say trash. I don't know what they intend by scuffed. So, all right. So we're doing a Dark Souls 3 boss tier list because I know that not everybody agrees with everybody on these things. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. See what happens. See where we end up. So all right. So I'm gonna just go in the order that we've got right here, and we're starting off with the Abyss Watchers, which is a cool fight. I think. I think it's a conceptually cool fight. The idea of the first phase having one Abyss Watcher that you're fighting, and then another one pops in, and then another one pops in, and they kind of like fight you. They fight each other, and it's cool. It's a good skill check too. It's kind of one of the harder bosses up to that point, I think. Um, but yeah, so there's that. I think that would put them at a solid B tier. Solid B tier. Aldrich, the Devourer of the Gods, is one of the bosses I struggle more with because for whatever reason he just loves that phase 2 arrow attack for me, and I just never really get to do a whole lot besides just run away from arrows. So I'm gonna put him at C tier based on that one attack. The rest of the boss is fine. Like, if that attack was a little different, then sure, maybe. Ancient Wyvern is not really a boss. That's trash. There's no discussion to be made there. It is a cool action sequence, but I do not enjoy the boss fight at all because, like, you're not fighting the boss. You're just, like, after the first time you do it, like, the first time you do it, it's cool. You're fighting all these snake dudes and doing your thing. And then you just, like, on subsequent playthroughs, you just run past everything, do the plunge attack, and be done with it. And it's just there's a lot of replay value to the game, zero replay value to that particular boss. All right, Champion's Grave Tender, I'm gonna put a D. Um, like it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. He's got a big wolf. Nice little callback to fighting Sif in a way. Champion Gundyr, I'm putting him A tier. Easy, easy A tier. Champion Gundyr is one of the cooler bosses in the game, hands down. Crystal Sage, I'll put at a C tier. Kind of like, the Abyss Watchers in the sense that there's multiples that show up, but different because a lot of them are clones. Well, all of them except for the real one are clones, and yeah, that's that's a thing. I mean, you can tell based on the color of the magic which one is real, so that simplifies it a little bit once you figure that out. Like, all the clones use blue crystals, but the real one uses purple crystals. But one of my friends is colorblind, so he doesn't have that advantage. So, yeah. Dancer of the Boreal Valley is A tier, easily. Um, A tier, even though her grab attack doesn't make any fucking sense. I have been grabbed by that attack from behind her. I have seen entire parties of 4 get grabbed by that attack all at one time and get wiped. I, the hitbox on that grab attack is trash tier, but the rest of the boss fight is just that fucking good. All right, so yeah, Deacons of the Deep is also trash tier. It's just a mob boss. I don't think mob bosses are fun. I don't think the Deacons of the Deep is fun. It's one of those things where it's like you don't really want to do it on subsequent playthroughs because it's just gonna take more time than it really needs to because they all use force and they have like a bajillion poise or whatever. So like not not fun. Not even fun the first time really. Like the first time you walk in you're just like, oh, is this really what the boss is? Just a bunch of old dudes. Anyway, so now we'll get the Demon King. The old Demon King I'll put at C. He is conceptually really cool. I like his concept. I like the purpose that he serves. You know, the fact that he's like the last of his kind, so to speak. Got out of your email talking about Reddit. Anyway, so yeah, he's kind of like giving his final hurrah in that battle, and it's poetic in a way, and I like that a lot. I really like I really like bosses like that are more symbolic than anything. Like in the first game, Gwyn, the last boss, is not a hard boss at all, but he's very much symbolic and a good final boss from a storytelling perspective. I think the Demon King tells a good story in a sense. The Demon Prince, um, Demon from Below, and Demon in Pain, or whatever they were called, are very very good fights. The first phase is a great co-op fight, or a great fight to do by yourself. Really, it's a little overwhelming by yourself at times, but like if you're playing with a friend, it's an awesome boss to play with a friend, and it's a good fight to do by yourself too. And then the last phase, lots of health, lots of cool attacks. You gotta stay on point. So definitely pretty cool. You got the Dragon Slayer armor. I'll put it at B. It's a very fun fight, but it's not a very hard fight. So it's a cool looking boss with a cool weapon, a cool move set. He's extremely fair. Usually, sometimes he'll like just yeet you off the stage, but usually he's pretty fair. It's a lot of fun. Sister Freyed gets at A tier. I know that's gonna be like the generic place for her among people, but I mean, she's probably one of the best fights in the game. No, there's not even a probably about it. She definitely is. Like phase one, you know, kind of, it's a good fight, but it's not too tough. You know, she doesn't really have any poise, so you can, if your weapon's big enough, you can just, you know, do what you need to do. Phase two, where Father Ariandel gets into it all, and finishing that out, you know, you get your Titanite slab, and there's a little fanfare going on, sort of. And then she gets back up for phase three, which is easily one of the fucking coolest fights in the game. The Curse Rod of Greatwood is trash. The gimmick is too strong with this one. You slap his nuts. It's phase one. You slap his nuts. Then you know, he butt bombs the fucking ground, takes the ground out, kills all the mobs around you, and then you're fighting in the underground arena. And again, you're playing slap nuts with him, or you could just make him do his move where he gets up and tries to body slam you and just beat the shit out of his little hand thing. Like it's obscenely easy. It's not a boss that you look forward to doing. I also have a personal gripe because for a while the audio of that boss, like all of the collision audio of him stepping and smacking things, was extremely loud and actually damaged my speakers. And I don't know why it was like that. And it was not like that for any of my friends. But so, yeah. Halflight, I'm gonna put it F tier. I hate Halflight when it's just him. When it's offline. Offline Halflight is just such a stupid fight. It's a amalgamation of all of the most annoying things from the Ring City DLC, slapped into a character and given a fucking NPC to assist it. Now, I'm going to leave it at F tier, even when you factor in the PvP side of things, because I play on PC, and PC is still offline, as far as I know, as of the time of recording this, which is... it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame. I don't even know how long it's been since I played Dark Souls online, but it's been a long time. But as a PC player, there's just it's F tier because you're stuck with doo doo ass fucking Halflight. Mister, don't wipe his ass over here. Iodex Gundyr, I'm gonna put him at D tier. He's a great tutorial boss and a really cool introductory boss, especially the first time you play. And he's definitely challenging your first time. The Pus of Man in phase 2 is not what I was expecting, despite being a veteran of the series. I've played a lot of the old games, and yet Pus of Man stuff caught me completely off guard. I really wish that as a whole, Dark Souls 3 explored the idea of Pus of Man a little bit more than it did, because it's like you see it right there in the beginning, and then you see it right there at the end, and that's really it. Dark Eater Midear is an S or A tier for me, and there's just no real dispute there. He is my favorite boss in the game. He's very difficult. It's not even because he has a complicated moveset or anything. His moveset's pretty straightforward. It's just that he has a lot of health and he does a lot of damage. And I know a lot of people back, oh, but he's a bullet sponge. I don't like that. Damage sponge. But the reality is that he just forces you to play well for an extended period, because he doesn't really give you a whole lot of room to make mistakes. And I enjoy that. So, next up you've got Nameless King. I'm going to put Nameless King actually at B tier, specifically because of phase 1. The Storm King, the wyvern that he rides, is dookie. I hate it. I hate the fact that you can't lock onto it and also have a decent, view of literally anything. I hate that there's like 3 builds that can efficiently take it down, and that's really it. If you don't have specific damage types, you're just sitting there, old man screaming at the cloud style. So it's phase 1 is not fun. Phase 2 is awesome though. So phase 2 is enough to save it. I'd say phase 1 is F tier, but phase 2 is A tier. So, and it's A tier enough to save it and bring the collective of both phases up to a B tier. Alright, so Oceros, the Consumed King, he's a bonus boss. He's not necessary. Which is a shame, because he's cool. I'm going to put him at C tier, because he can be definitely challenging, especially if you're playing a magic build. He's a definite wall for magic builds. He's got a lot of magic resistance. But the whole thing with, Ocelot and all that, his little backstory going on there, it's interesting. Pontiff Sullivan, B tier. Fuck that guy. He's a great skill check. He's a great boss. A lot of fun. Very fast paced. Definitely keeps me in that spot for certain builds, for sure. Slave Nightgale is S tier or A tier. Well, if there was an S tier, he'd be out there too. Just the best boss I could think of to close out the series. He's very good. And actually, when I did my playthrough of Dark Souls 3, I struggled with him greatly, because Dark Souls was offline at that point, and I had to fight him alone, and I'd never beaten him alone before, because usually I did the Ring City with a friend, and I obviously couldn't do that with it being offline. And through many trials and tribulations, I finally beat him, only for the fucking video to get corrupted. Just had to poop on that. Didn't you, Gale? Alright. Next we've got Soul of Cinder. I'm going to go ahead and put Soul of Cinder at the B tier. More of a poetic boss than anything, but I really had a good time with it, honestly. Twin Princes is also a B tier. The teleporting gimmick is the only real, heavy gimmick that I think isn't shit in this game, frankly. I would say that the Twin Princes are an example of a gimmick boss done well. That gimmick being that they can teleport around the battlefield, which really ups the level of challenge, really keeps you on your toes, and really makes them a difficult fight for a lot of people. Vort of the Boreal Valley, we'll go ahead and put him at D tier. He's another good early boss. He's very solid, very fucking interesting lore, you know, and like hard to go wrong with him. Nothing to really complain about other than that he's just kind of easy. But he's only easy because he's so early in the game, and it makes sense. High Lord Wolnir, Drip Lord Wolnir himself, I'm going to put him at trash. I absolutely love his lore and his boss design and everything else about him, but the break his drip and send him to hell gimmick is... oh, what, hiccups, really? Is really dumb. I don't like it. I think it's very stupid, and I don't enjoy that fight, and it sucks. And the last one might upset a few people, but Yorm is trash tier. Yorm is an S tier character with a trash tier fight. And I hate to say that, but the Storm Ruler... First of all, like, bringing the Storm Ruler back from Demon Souls could have been fine, but its purpose was so wildly different, yet similar, right? So, like, the Storm Ruler was a goofy gimmick weapon in Demon Souls, and it was specifically useful in, like, one stage. And Yorm's fight uses the Storm Ruler. Now, if you followed along with Onion Bro's story, you'll have him in there to help you out, and he's got his own Storm Ruler, because by lore, there are two Storm Rulers, and Yorm was given one from Onion Bro as their friends. Or actually, no, other way. Their friendship was so close that Yorm had both Storm Rulers, which are like anti-giant greatswords, and basically the power of those swords could bring a giant to its knees, any giant. So Yorm gave one to his friend just in case he ever needed to use it, right? And that's like a beautiful story, and the story of Onion Bro and Yorm is incredible. But like, I even have a short demonstrating it. The Storm Ruler doesn't like work as per its lore. Its purpose is to bring giants to their knees. It does nothing to any giants except for Yorm. So either A, the Storm Ruler is canonically broken after you use it against Yorm, or B, Yorm is just like so far and away the most weakest giant out of all of them. Like, there's no lore explanation for it. Just absolutely none. So I don't enjoy that fight at all. I know there's some people that are like, well, if you don't like Storm Ruler, then do it the old-fashioned way. No, it's not really a fun fight, even if you do it the old-fashioned way, because it's still like 20,000 HP that you have to go through fairly early in the game, in my case usually, that with a boring moveset that's not necessarily hard to avoid. Yorm is a boss that could have been easily A tier, easily up there with Gundyr and the Dancer, and they just fucking dropped the ball, you know. But that's my tier list for the Dark Souls with the absolute best bosses in the trilogy. It also has some of the absolute worst bosses in the trilogy. It's a mixed bag, but overall it's good. You know, there's a few stinkers, but for the most part, it's good, because like even the D's are like really, they're still good fights. They're just being compared to the A's that are on this list. Like Iodux Gundyr, for example, is way, way, way better of a boss fight than a lot of the bosses in Dark Souls 1 or 2. But most of the bosses in Dark Souls 1 or 2 are better than the five bosses that I put down there at trash tier. Obviously, there's exceptions, but there's my tier list. Take it or leave it. Discuss. Where would you put who? I mean, do what you need to do. That's the video. Farewell.